At a family birthday, my uncle asked if I was still jobless, and my mom answered for me. I felt the word land before I even processed it, like my body recognized the shape of humiliation faster than my brain could translate it. Still jobless. Uncle Ray said, loud enough to carry over the backyard chatter, the clink of forks, the awful playlist my cousin insisted on. He had his beer in one hand, a smear of sauce on his thumb, and that smug little grin he gets when he thinks he's being real. I was mid-bite of a sausage roll, chewing like an idiot, and suddenly I was aware of my mouth, my hands, the way my shoulders tensed. I hadn't even swallowed before my mom stepped in. Quick, bright, practiced. "Oh, she's between things right now," she said, smiling at him like she was smoothing a wrinkle in the tablecloth. "She's figuring it out." Like I was a toddler learning to tie shoes. Like I wasn't standing right there, holding my own plate, capable of speaking. For a second, I just stared at her. My mom didn't look at me, not even a quick check-in. She kept her eyes on Ray, kept the smile glued on, and she added, because she always adds, you know how she is. She wants the perfect fit. It was said in that gentle, joking tone that makes it sound like a compliment, but it wasn't. It was a story. Aaron is picky. Aaron is indecisive. Aaron is sensitive. Everyone in the circle laughed politely, the way people laugh when they're relieved someone else has taken control of an awkward moment. My cousin's wife gave me a pity smile. My dad kept talking to someone by the grill, like he hadn't heard a thing. And Uncle Ray nodded like he'd been given confirmation. I said, "Well, can't be choosy forever." I swallowed hard enough that it hurt. The sausage roll turned to paste in my mouth. I could feel heat climbing up my neck, my ears burning. I wanted to say, I'm not jobless. I got laid off, and I've been freelancing while I apply. I've had interviews. I'm doing my best. I wanted to say, why would you ask that like it's a joke? Why would you answer for me like I'm embarrassing? But standing there under the fairy lights with everyone half watching, half pretending not to, my body did the old familiar thing. It tried to make me smaller, so no one would accuse me of ruining the vibe. My grip tightened on my plate. My nails pressed into the cardboard edge. I forced a laugh that didn't reach my face because sometimes my survival instincts are louder than my dignity. This was my cousin Jess's 30th birthday. Backyard party, family and friends. One of those events where someone sets up a balloon arch and everyone posts "so blessed" captions the next day. I'd almost skipped it. Not because I don't love Jess. We're not super close, but she's not cruel. But because I've been trying to avoid any gathering where my life becomes public commentary. The last 6 months have been rough. I got made redundant at my job in marketing when the company restructured, which is corporate language for "we can do your job cheaper." I handled it okay at first. I made a spreadsheet of applications. I told myself it was temporary. I did the whole stay positive routine. But the weeks dragged. Interviews went nowhere. Everyone I knew suddenly had advice. And my family loves advice the way some people love gossip. They dress it up as concern, but it's really a hunger for a story where they're wise and you're messy. Mom knew the details, technically. She knew I'd been doing contract work. She knew I wasn't sitting on the couch eating chips and waiting for a miracle. She'd seen me stressed, seen me quiet, seen me wake up at 3 a.m. and check my email like it was oxygen. She'd also been telling people, without asking, that I was taking some time, like unemployment was a spa day, like she could soften it into something that didn't reflect badly on her. That's a big part of why it hurt. My mom answering for me wasn't new. She's been doing it my whole life. Teachers ask me a question at parent-teacher night. Mom answers. Relatives ask if I'm dating. Mom answers. Someone asks if I'm coming for Christmas. Mom answers. Usually with a little laugh, and we'll see if she feels like being social. Like my choices are moods. Like I'm unpredictable. Like I'm not fully adult. I told myself this time would be different because I'd rehearsed. I'd literally practiced the lines in the car. Yeah, I got laid off, but I've been freelancing and applying. It's been tough, but I'm working on it. Simple. Neutral. Not defensive. I even told myself I'd say it with a smile, so no one could call it dramatic. But I didn't get to say anything because Mom jumped in like she always does, and everyone accepted her version because it's easier. Uncle Ray took another sip of beer and leaned in slightly, voice lowered like he was giving me fatherly wisdom. You know what you should do? Get a government job. Stable. None of this creative nonsense. Mom chuckled as if he'd said something charming. She'd hate that, she said, again for me. She needs excitement. I felt something twist in my stomach. I looked at her finally, really looked, and I could see the tension in her face, the effort it took to keep the party smooth. That's her priority. Always. Smooth. I can answer, I said, and my voice came out quieter than I wanted, but it was there. Mom blinked like I'd surprised her. Oh, sweetheart. No, I said, and my heart was hammering now. I can answer. Uncle Ray laughed like I was being cute. All right then. Hit me. Still jobless or what? The word again. Jobless. Like it was a personality trait. I took a breath that felt shallow. I'm not jobless, I said. I was made redundant. I've been freelancing since then while I apply for roles. I've had interviews. I'm working. There was a tiny pause. Not long, but enough for everyone to recalibrate. My cousin's wife's pity smile faltered. Uncle Ray's grin stiffened. Someone nearby coughed awkwardly. Mom's expression tightened too, just a fraction, like I'd stepped out of my assigned role. Oh, Uncle Ray said, nodding like he'd heard the gist, but not the nuance. So, unemployed. I felt my face heat again. Not unemployed, I said, voice firmer now. Freelancing. Contract work. He waved his hand dismissively. Same thing. Mom stepped in instantly, soothing. Ray, don't be like that, she said with a laugh. Then she turned to me, still smiling, and her eyes gave me that warning look. Don't make this into an argument. Histoire de hair. The warning made something in me go cold. Jess's friend called from across the yard, cake time, and the moment got swept up into movement. People clapping, kids running, someone lighting candles. The conversation dissolved without resolution, the way these things always do. That's the trick of parties. You could drop a grenade, and then someone yells cake, and suddenly the shrapnel is just part of the grass. I drifted toward the drink table, needing space, needing air. My hands were still shaking. I reached for a plastic cup and filled it with lemonade just to have something to hold. Mara, my best friend who came with me because she knew I was anxious, appeared at my side like she'd been summoned. I saw, she said quietly. I tried to laugh. It sounded brittle. Did you? Mara's eyes were sharp, angry on my behalf. Your mom answered for you, like you weren't even there. I stared at the lemonade bubbles rising. Yeah. You okay? I wanted to say yes. I wanted to be easy. Instead, I said, I feel like I'm 12. Mara's mouth tightened. You don't have to stay. And I almost left then. I almost did the thing where I escape and then spend the next week being punished with family silence and messages about how I made it about me. But Jess was smiling near the cake, genuinely happy. Grandma was there too, sitting with a blanket on her knees, and she looked so pleased to have everyone in one place that it made my chest ache. I didn't want to make her worry. I didn't want to punish Jess for my uncle's mouth. So I stayed. I stayed because I always stay. During cake, my mom kept hovering near me, touching my arm lightly, smoothing the moment like it was a wrinkle. Don't let Ray get to you, she murmured, like Ray was the problem and not the fact she treated me like a PR crisis. I looked at her. You answered for me. Mom blinked innocently. I was helping. I didn't ask for help, I said. Her smile tightened. I just didn't want you put on the spot. I was already on the spot, I said, and I could hear the tremor in my voice now. You just made it smaller, like I'm some failure you have to explain away. Mom's face shifted, hurt flashing quickly. That's not what I did. It felt like it, I said. Mom's eyes darted around, checking who could hear. Not here, she whispered sharply. Please. Of course. Not here. Never here. Never when it's happening. Always later, behind closed doors, where the story can be edited. So I shut up again. I sang happy birthday. I clapped. I smiled in the photos. I made small talk. I listened to Uncle Ray tell someone else how young people don't want to work. I watched my mom laugh at his jokes like she wasn't betraying me with every giggle. On the drive home, Mara was quiet for a while. Then she said, Do you want to know what I noticed? What? Your mom didn't answer because she thought you couldn't, Mara said. She answered because she didn't like how your truth sounded. The sentence hit me hard because it felt true. My mom didn't want made redundant. She didn't want freelancing. She didn't want interviews not working out. She wanted between things and perfect fit, phrases that make it sound like my situation is a choice, like I'm floating around deciding my next adventure. Because if it's my choice, it doesn't reflect on her. If it's my personality flaw, it's safer for her than admitting life knocked me down. When I got home, my phone buzzed. A message from Mom. Sorry if Ray upset you. He means well. Nothing about her. Nothing about answering for me. Just Ray, the easy scapegoat. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, wanting to write a whole paragraph. Wanting to explain. Wanting to be understood. Wanting, as always, to do the emotional labor so she wouldn't have to. Instead, I typed, he didn't upset me as much as you answering for me did. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then, I was trying to protect you. Protect. As if my own voice is dangerous. I put my phone down and felt that familiar exhaustion settle over me. Not just tiredness, the deep fatigue of being constantly managed by people who claim to love you. The next day, Dad called. He doesn't call often unless something is a situation. You made your mother feel bad. He said immediately, no hello. I closed my eyes. I told her the truth. Dad sighed like I was dense. She was just trying to keep things light. Why does it have to be light? I asked, voice tight. Why can't I just answer a question about my own life? Dad's tone sharpened. Because you turn everything into a lecture. I laughed once bitter. I said I was freelancing. Same thing, Dad snapped, echoing Ray like it was a family chant. I felt my hands start to shake again. Do you hear yourselves? I asked. You're all using the same lines. Dad went quiet for a second, then said colder, if you don't like how we talk, don't come. And there it was. The ultimatum disguised as freedom. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. Later that week, Grandma called me. She always calls when there's tension, like she can feel it. She didn't mention the party at first. She asked about my plans. She asked if I was eating properly. Then she said, softly, your uncle has always been a bit of a bully. I swallowed. Yeah. And your mother? Grandma paused, choosing words carefully. Your mother worries too much about how things look. I felt tears sting unexpectedly. She answered for me. I whispered, like saying it to Grandma, made it real. Grandma sighed. I heard. You did. Yes, she said, and there was a sadness in her voice. And I wish she'd let you speak. I stared at my kitchen table, throat tight. I don't know what to do anymore, Gran. Grandma's voice softened. You keep speaking, she said, even if they don't like it. After we hung up, I sat there thinking about how my grandmother, who grew up in an era where feelings were swallowed, could name the problem more clearly than my parents who claim they're modern and supportive. I'm not writing this because I want revenge or because I think my uncle is the devil. He's just that kind of man. Loud, casually cruel, convinced his opinions are truth. I'm writing because my mom answering for me made something click in my brain that I can't unclick. She doesn't just want me happy. She wants me palatable. She wants my life to be a story she can present without discomfort. And when my reality doesn't fit, she edits it in real time, even if I'm standing right there. I don't know what the next family gathering looks like. I don't know if I'll go. I don't know if I can sit through another still jobless with my mom smoothing and shrinking me. What I do know is that I'm tired of being treated like a problem to manage instead of a person to listen to. And if my mom wants to protect me, she can start by letting me speak.